Hello and welcome back to another episode of the ForReel podcast. I am your host today, Derrick Murray, and we are doing the PTA, baby. One battle after another has finally hit theaters. We have all seen it, and we are very, very excited to talk about it. Paul Thomas Anderson is an event no matter how you come away from this movie. So, everybody, crack open your Modelo's, be ocean waves, and know what time it is because it's one battle after another time. With me, I have, as always, the wonderful Thomas Stoneham-Judge. How are you today?
I'm good, but let's not nitpick over this password stuff. I don't remember any more of this code speak. Just tell me what the rendezvous point is.
Calm down, Comrade Josh. And then also we have the wonderful Marty. How are you today, Marty?
Rise and shine, bat an eyelash. Good morning. I'm doing great.
Love it.
Love it. Yes. So, guys, we are here to talk about one battle after another. So the first thing I want to do before we get into it, so we will get into spoilers. There's kind of no other way around it. We'll have to. There's no way to talk about this movie without actually starting to talk about plot points and characters, and those things are going to be very vital. But we won't do that up top. Up top, we'll keep things very general, and then I will make sure that I denote when we are actually going to do spoilers, so that if you have not seen the movie yet, you can pause, run, go watch it, and then come back and watch the rest of our conversation. So the first thing I want to start with is I want to just kind of start with your guys' relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson. Paul Thomas, like I said, it really is an event when he releases a movie. This is his 10th feature film, and he kind of does this new movie every 5-6 years or so, kind of like clockwork, but it really is something that we all kind of look forward to. So, Marty, we'll start with you. So, Marty, just kind of tell me about your relationship with PTA and just over the years.
I've always had a complicated relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson because I'm a Fiona Apple fan, and I know a lot about their relationship together and just how he just was not a good person at that time. I don't know who he is now. But just at that time was not a good guy. And the only film I had seen from him for a long time was Boogie Nights, which I enjoyed. And then I saw Phantom Thread in theaters because I didn't know it was him, and I really enjoyed it. And so Boogie Nights and this movie are the only two that I like out of the 5 movies I've seen by him. So it's an interesting relationship.
Okay, I'm very curious now. Which of the? So you said 5. So the 3 that you've seen that you don't like, which ones are those?
There Will Be Blood, which I know a lot of people hate me for that. Licorice Pizza, and then Punch Drunk Love.
Okay. All right, that's a good broad spectrum of PTA. I think you cover. He definitely has a kind of career-minded defining moment where it's like, I'm going to make 3 films that are all like this, and then I'm now going to make 3 films that are all like this, and then I'm going to make 3 and they're all pretty distinct from each other in that way. So I think you cover the gamut of his career pretty well. Thomas, what about you?
You know, I'm just now realizing that I have a terrible relationship with Paul Thomas Anderson. I know all of these titles and have not seen any of them.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a Paul Thomas Anderson retrospective. Because it's not like I haven't heard of these movies. I've just never made time for them. The only one that I've seen, kind of similar to Marty, because I didn't know it was Paul Thomas Anderson, was Phantom Thread. And I like that movie. I like it a lot, but it's a very, very different kind of film from one battle after another. So no, I hear great things. I know There Will Be Blood. Everybody talks about that, and it's always on my mind. Like, I need to get around to There Will Be Blood, and I just have not yet. So I have some history to do with Paul Thomas Anderson, and maybe I'll do that before his next movie in 5 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I'm hosting because I am clearly the authority on PTA here. I have seen all of them. So PTA is definitely one of my favorite directors. I have followed his career and I have watched his films in the way that most film bros probably do. So when I was coming of age and starting to watch movies, the films that obviously really stuck out to me that everybody were talking about would be things like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, a lot of that early work. Heart Eight kind of came around as like this cult classic would pass around in the dorms. But really, it is things like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, that section of film. And to Marty's point, the 25 to 30-year-old, which is just absolutely insane that he made both Boogie Nights and Magnolia in his late 20s, which just I can't even like he
A
was
lot of cocaine.
yes. So to your point, yes, he was a very different person then, and you can see that exemplified in his work. The difference between something like Magnolia to Phantom Thread or Boogie Nights to There Will Be Blood. You can definitely tell that he grew up, he got sober, he is no longer whoever he was with Fiona Apple. So you can definitely feel him kind of, growing up and maturing, not just as a person, but as a filmmaker and the things that really concern him. Paul Thomas Anderson has always had a sort of cynicism, but also a deep respect for humanity and broken people, broken men. These are all things that show up in pretty much all of his movies. They all really center around some form of a broken man who is mostly unlikable. And even by the end, so if you watch something like There Will Be Blood, you're not supposed to be on Plainview's side. He's not a hero. He's not, he is a despicable, broken person that you watch throughout this movie. So I love PTA. He is genuinely one of my favorite directors. So when it comes to something like One Battle After Another, this is a movie this is a movie event for me. This is cinema in every single word of that phrase. So with the limited scope that you both have when it comes to PTA, I actually think that is going to help be a little bit more informing on this movie in particular, because this movie is so singular from PTA's previous work, where it has tinges of his stuff, but if you watch any of his other 9 movies, he doesn't do action epics. He doesn't do chase sequences. He doesn't do stuff like this. He doesn't do things that are this more straightforward, right? This is his most straightforward, accessible, crowd-pleasing type movie, as opposed to all of the other stuff that he's done. So, with that being said, let's just kind of talk about One Battle After Another. We'll keep it general and just kind of get your general consensus. I'm not going to call your name, so go for it.
I'm gonna start here because I always say don't go in with low expectations, and so I didn't. I went in with no expectations. I didn't. If I watched the trailer, I didn't pay attention to it. Like, this is one I wanted to go into as blindly as possible, which was such a benefit. Because I mean, even I think if you watch the trailer, I don't think you're really going to get the sense of like what you're going to experience in this movie. So not spoilers. I think ultimately I had a great time with this movie. Just a blast. I was engaged. My audience was engaged, which is hard to come by in theaters anymore. I think it was just such a wild ride, and I was really, really there for it. Obviously great performances. I mean, I think that goes without saying. Just a phenomenal cast. And great performances. But I think the thing that really makes this movie something that I personally appreciate is character development is so important for me in a film. Like, a lot of what I take away from movies is watching a character grow and develop. Or maybe what stops a character from growing and developing. But in this movie, the where you start with these characters and where you end with them is just night and day, and to watch that progress throughout this 2-hour and 50-minute runtime is sensational. I had a great time with it. The only thing that I resent is that I couldn't see this at a film festival, because this movie would have ripped at TIFF. So I don't know what Paul Thomas Anderson had against film festivals this time. But this should have been doing the rounds at the fall fests, and I'm thoroughly bummed that it didn't, but I still had a great time with it.
I would push back on that just a little bit, because if this came out at TIFF, even though I saw like 90 movies, none of them would have mattered. I would like you could just erase that whole lineup because this is it. I think they purposefully withheld it from festivals so that other people could have a chance to have their movies be talked about.
Give Frankenstein a chance.
Yeah, just let Guillermo del Toro wax poetic about his passion project for a little bit.
That's probably valid, but selfishly speaking.
Oh yeah, selfishly speaking, yeah. Seeing this at like Princess of Wales would have been that.
Man.
Oh boy. But yeah, Marty, how about you?
I also went in with like no expectations whatsoever. I had not seen the trailer. The only thing I knew is when the casting was first announced that Tanya Taylor and Regina Hall and Leah were going to be in the movie. And I was like, love all these people. So I'm down. I thought Tanya was amazing. I loved her in, what was it?
1001.
1001, thank you. She just like blew me away with that. And I was like, whatever she does next, I will be here. I will be seated. And she just did not disappoint here. The one disappointment though is she's just not in enough of the movie. Like I really liked the movie a lot. I don't know if I associate with the masterpiece title that this movie is getting, because there was just a lot of good here, but I just felt like the main focus being on Leo, he was the weakest of the characters, and so many of these strong storylines only get like this much. I really would have loved if this was like a 6-part miniseries, because the first like 30-45 minutes I wish was like 2 hours. And then there's a good bit in the middle, which I wish I had more time with. Benicio's storyline, I would have loved to see more of him as well. And then there was, won't get into too much spoilers right now, but a thing at a nunnery where I'm like, I need a full hour with them as well. There's just so many interesting bits that I'm like, I needed more to chew with them. And that was the like slightly disappointing thing, but I still enjoyed the time I had with each of these storylines. And another thing too that kind of threw me with the movie is I feel like the dialogue is really hard to hear. I don't know if it was just my theater, but like most of the time the music is up here, the dialogue volume is like down here, and then the dialogue is very like muffled and hard to hear already. So I'm like literally like straining to like pick up a lot of dialogue. Like the music choices were great. I just wish maybe it was just mixed a little bit better. But for the most part, like it really had me on the edge of my seat, and I felt locked in, and I really, really appreciated just kind of what Leo was doing. Like, I know I said his character was kind of like the least interesting, but still what he had, he was doing great with, especially in comparison to who we see at the beginning of the film to who he is for the rest of the film. Like, it's just seeing kind of what what's Tanya's name in the film? Hollywood something?
Perfidia Beverly Hills.
Perfidia's mom is just like, you are not the right man for her. Like, you can't handle all of this. And she was right. Yeah. And I loved to see his evolution to just kind of being this stoner dad who's just struggling to handle the situation that he's found himself in. I thought it's the most interesting role he's done in a while. And he shined in it. He shined. And I just feel like all the performances were fantastic. I wish I got more time with Tanya. Even Haim, I wish I got more time with her. And Jungle Pussy, like just the fact that Paul Thomas Anderson knows who Jungle Pussy is. He put her
so good.
Let her use her like rap persona, Jungle Pussy, as the character, and then even used her iconic lyric, "This pussy don't pop for you." I was like, okay, I see you. Okay. But yeah. So I had a lot of fun with this, but I wanted more.
You make such an interesting point with wanting more, because as you're saying that, like, this movie's already almost 3 hours and I could have sat for another hour. I was so into it. But what that tells me is that this could have been a banger TV series. I think you could like, if you develop this as a series, you could do really creative things with each hour episode, flashbacks and focus on each character storyline with each episode. Like this really lends itself to that. And I mean, I'm happy with the movie that we got, but man, what branch of the multiverse do I need to go to see this as a like 12-part miniseries?
So for me, this is a masterpiece. I'm that person. I'm the echo chamber that is like this man does not miss. Even like his lesser work is still like he's never done anything that's less than 3.5 stars in my opinion. And that even includes something like Inherent Vice, which I actually don't think is very good. But PTA the man just knows how to make movies. So even like his lesser works are still, on the positive side. This is probably one of my favorite PTA movies of the day. Some of that might just be recency bias. It's very common for him to do this kind of fractured storytelling where because he's more focused on not just creating highly original characters that you're like, I would like to follow them forever. Because I had some of that too, right? But when Benicio del Toro shows up, I'm just like, why isn't the movie about him? Give me the whole movie about this friggin' sensei. I love it. Yes, bow, please. Ocean waves, baby. Ocean waves.
Yeah, there's a whole like Better Call Saul spinoff or something with him. Like
he's just so funny. He literally is just so funny as this character.
But that is something that is Paul Thomas Anderson likes to do that. So I feel that One Battle After Another isn't just one of his best films. I also think it's a culmination of his career because it takes so much of that hyperkinetic energy and that world building where you just introduce a shit ton of characters all at once and you want to follow all of them. So I know you guys haven't seen it, but Boogie Nights and Magnolia have a lot in common because they have that, right? If you watch Boogie Nights, he just randomly introduces, like Alfred Molina shows up for 5 minutes and then just disappears and you never see him again. But that whole sequence, you're just like, why is there, can I get a movie about this cracked out drug dealer? Like, I would like to know more, please. And that's just something that he's always done until he starts to get into his a little bit more of his like mature filmmaking. He gets into his 30s and that's when you start getting things like Phantom Thread, There Will Be Blood. Even Punch Drunk Love is kind of like an experimentation of that, where the world gets a little bit smaller and the characters get a little bit more focused. And he's telling a very singular story. This one feels like he's doing both. He's doing this gigantic world that we are just getting thrust into with characters popping in and out. But at the same time, it's also a very straightforward story. A revolutionary tries to change the world, has everything taken away. He's fried his brain, and now he's got to go find his daughter. Like, that's the most basic premise you can get. Now, obviously, there is way more going on in this movie, but if you just boil it down to its brass tacks, it really is just a father searching for his daughter. That's, in a form of redemption, in trying to connect. That really is the main story of this. And so I find as a PTA stan, I find all of that to just be a testament to how good the movie is. For you just to say like, hey, I want more, that just means this movie is an absolute banger. I loved everything about this movie. I loved the cast. I loved the performances. I loved the direction. I loved the score. I loved the editing. I loved the cinematography. We're going to get into spoilers here in about a minute, but the way that PTA finds a new gear to shift to when it comes to action, that last action sequence.
Can we talk about it,
bro?
Can we talk about it? Fast and Furious
stomach dropped. Holy shit!
Fast and Furious couldn't make a car chase scene that interesting. Okay.
Oh, the River of Hills, man. Just
man.
When we can transition into spoilers now, so we can start talking about individual things that we really liked. And that scene is a great place to start because this movie has so much oscillation between being a genuine action thriller crowd pleaser, where you watch something like River of Hills and you're just like, geez, this is the action filmmaker of our time. And you almost forget that Paul Thomas Anderson is the one directing this movie because you've never seen anything like this from him before. But then he has these sequences where he's trying to do these passwords, and the guy's like, no, you're gonna get this question. What's my favorite type of pussy? No matter what, Mexican hairless. That is like, it is such a stark reminder that you're like, oh yeah, no, I am in a fucking PTA movie. Like, that is the rendezvous point being Women of the Sacred Beaver. Like, come on, guys. Like, this, you're in a PTA movie, whether you think you are or not. And those things are just so, I love that. But yeah, that River of the Hills sequence, fucking scene of the year for me. Just unbelievable.
I loved it. Like, cinematography in this movie is already incredible. I like kind of the long tracking takes that it does. There's a lot going on with the cinematography that I liked, but the rolling hills. Now, I saw this movie in IMAX, and that, like, I'm trying to. It's like that long lens, but it has that, and it's oscillating and going up and down, and I just was so there for it. Like, I think that made that scene so interesting because, look, we're in spoiler territory, so if you have not seen the movie yet, go see the movie. This is your note. We're in spoilers. We're gonna get into individual things. We're gonna start unpacking themes. We're gonna start unpacking characters. Yeah,
all of that stuff is. There's literally no way to talk about these characters in detail without spoiling the movie. It just cannot happen. So, this is your note. Turn it off. Okay, they're gone. Go for it.
Okay, they're gone. That rolling hill scene, like, it's not, technically speaking, they're just following each other. Like, there's space between them. Like, it's not a whole lot happening. It's just kind of the up and down of the hill. But the way it's composed is so enthralling. I literally was sitting there like 10 Fast and Furious movies could not do this.
Being on the hood of the car with the camera, looking at the rear view mirror, just that juxtaposition was really great. And I feel like it was finally the time to give Chase's character a time to shine, because like, there's been times where she's been trying to save herself and she's been unsuccessful, and she finally has that. I do think it would have been a little bit stronger though if right before she gets in the car, it's not this guy who saves her. If they like bring her into this building and she does some karate shit and saves herself, and then she's like on the run. Because I do kind of feel like her going on this chase and like finally like shooting that racist and like saving herself is like fantastic, but it also just kind of feels like, okay, let's like fully let her save herself. Let's not just like have this guy save her and then she comes up with this cool plan later. Like, let it be that she is this strong, powerful force. She is her mother's daughter. And like, there were hints of that, but I wanted more.
Yeah, there were hints. I think the karate thing, like, it doesn't come entirely full circle, I don't think, in the movie. I think there's glimpses of it where she's Sean Penn's character is walking with her and you know, she trips him. Like, that was fun. It was kind of unexpected, but also like, yeah, that's what you're trained to do. So well done. But it doesn't come full circle to where like this thing that she's very passionate about and very invested in doesn't ultimately be the thing that saves her. I think that maybe you could have altered the story a little bit in order for that to become a bigger part of the plot. But I loved it. I mean, the plan was so simple. Obviously you have rolling hills, obviously there's blind spots. Like, it was so simple but so effective. Stop the car, get out, and let him hit the car because he's not paying attention.
And genius. It's just such it's so different. I've never, you know, I said this before, but like, I've never seen anything like this. You know, the way that you were kind of describing it, Marty, of like putting the camera on the hood and basically following the hills, and we are trapped. Like, it's wild to be able to frame it this way, right? Where you have this open space, this complete open desert, this blank road that seemingly goes on forever, and yet he still creates this incredible claustrophobia of never knowing what is above the next line of the hill. Like, because of the way where you have this long lens, but then you have it on the hood, every hill you go over, you don't know what's going to be on, and the way it sets it up so that by the time Chase and Willa, the character, by the time she realizes like, oh, this is the way that I can do this, we're experiencing it in real time, which is just something I don't think action has been able to do in a really, really long time for me. And I love the action genre, but there's a bit of a predictability about it, and there are things that you just kind of expect. You know, Thomas, you keep mentioning Fast and Furious, but like, yeah, the Fast and the Furious would have done this in a way where you just know exactly what's going to happen and there's no surprise. And this one, I just dumbfounded. Like I just so blown away by it.
Smacks into it. It's just like you can feel the like in your chest.
Yes. I didn't see it in IMAX, but I did see it in Dolby.
Oh.
And so like when it crashes, like my whole seat rumbles. And like so you just like your body has to have a physical reaction to this crash. I think thematically too, though, one of the things I really appreciate, we can kind of get into this in individual characters, but I understand the kind of the request to want her to have a little bit more savior of herself, but this movie deals so much with agency and having power in a place where there is none, right? Like the whole framework of this revolution is, what is it that you're actually fighting against? Because one of the revelations of the French 75 is, and there's a lot, we can dig into this a little bit more too, but just like the generational revolution, the generational revolt, and how much each generation has a different way to change that. You see that with the French 75 juxtaposed against the way the sensei is kind of battling the system, and then it kind of culminates in how Willa is revolting, and they all have different ways. They're all just trying to make the world better in the way that they think, right? And so much of this is trying to find your own freedom in a place and in a world that is continually removing that freedom from you. And that's where Perfidia is so much of this wild chaos card, until she no longer has agency. She has used so much of herself to have control, to have, to thrive in this chaos that she creates. And it all kind of ultimately gets removed, and she doesn't actually have this agency that she thought she had. And I think she gets the last laugh, but I think in this regard too with Willa, that she is fighting powers that are so far beyond her, and so she has to discover creative ways to really become the woman that she needs to be. And same thing with Bob, right? Bob has always been on the outside looking in. Even when he was a part of the French 75, he's not really into this, right? Like he's always on the outside, like he genuinely wants to, but he's not really. And so he has to spend his whole life kind of finding a new way to, and he's doing it through his daughter. So I just find those aspects so interesting. But I think that's why we don't actually see her fall into like an action superstar heroine where she just goes all John Wick on the house. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's why there's some restraint there. So
it's interesting. I mean, I think you pretty much said everything there is to say about like, agency and at least those themes with those characters. I mean, I was just along for the ride. I'm pretty much Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie, just like trying to be a part of everything here, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, this movie does have a lot to say about agency and power. I mean, the thing that we haven't actually even brought up yet is the racist
Christmas Adventurers.
Christmas Adventure. Yes, they said that name and I about lost it. Like,
so good.
See, that's actually my biggest problem with the movie is the white supremacists. I was talking to my friend Olivia about this. Everyone, if you don't know her work, go to Inverse, and she has a great article on this where she's kind of going over the thoughts a lot better than I can contextualize. But a lot of the comedy in this film is based around these white supremacists. And it's just like, oh, let's just make them seem like very goofy and like, oh, they're harmless until they're like shooting your face off. And it's like, it's a trope that's been done before where it's just like, oh, the white supremacists, just the silly little guys. It's like, no, these are really shitty, awful people who are running our country. And it just spends too much time making a joke of them instead of showing how evil and awful they actually are. And I wanted that. Like, I don't want to see them as these little inflatable Santas who are just like, hey. Like, no, like, show us that these are like demonic people. Like, we kind of see it a little bit with Sean Penn, like literally scorching the earth because he's so scared of these people finding out that he possibly has a tainted bloodline. And I think his fear of them is kind of the most we really get to see about how evil these people are. Like for the rest of it, they're just kind of made to be a joke. And same with kind of like I feel like the only comedy that really works in the film is around Leo, because I feel like there's also comedy around the sexualization of Perfidia. Like when he's like spying on her and he's like looking at her butt and he's like about to start jerking off, and like my theater was laughing, and it's just like, no, that's kind of creepy. Like
It is creepy.
there were multiple points in the film, like even when it was like the reverse rape sequence and he's talking about that at the end, and like there's this like old guy sitting near me like laughing, and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like I think if we want to see change in this world, we have to take some of these issues a little bit more seriously. Like the trope has been done before about the funny racist character, and I think we're at the point where we just need to let that go and like put our heels in and take these things a little bit more seriously. But I would love to know what you guys thought about the Christmas Brigade people.
Yeah, I think they were very I see your points there, because they're kind of in the background of the story. Obviously they're very much Sean Penn's character. What's his character's name? Sergeant
Lockjaw.
Lockjaw, that's right. They're so much a part of Lockjaw's story that's kind of the context that we really see them most in. And so like, yeah, it would, and again, where do you fit that in this movie? You need a 12-part miniseries to really like dive into that. And I think that their most menacing, I think that it was probably intentional to wait to express their most menacingness until the end. In a fit of irony, I guess, with Lockjaw ending up being a victim of their evilness. But yeah, I guess that's definitely a good point. It would be good to have seen them and their evilness and sinisterness a lot more in practice. I just don't know where in this movie they would have been able to put it. I think they're very associated with Lockjaw, and that was kind of the connection to the story overall. But yeah, it is interesting how a lot of what a lot of their existence was comical. Yeah, that's just kind of how it went this time. And I don't know, maybe someone will take this feedback and make something a little bit more analytical and critical of groups like that in storytelling.
So I understand, but I actually think there's a little bit more going on, and I think there's such a juxtaposition between the passion and drive from people who don't have power versus the cold and calculating, almost dehumanization from the people that are in power. And I think that's really what we're supposed to take. Yes, it is slightly played for laughs, but it's the every conversation that you have with the Christmas adventurers, they don't talk about people as humans. There are no humans to them. Everything is dehumanized. It's an infestation. It's a problem. Like they're so emotionless and passionateless about the things they're doing versus everybody else that we encounter, where they have true community, they have true network, they have true people that they care about, and they are genuinely trying to fight despite having nothing at their disposal, right? They don't have anything that they can really do other than the things that they can find. And I think what Anderson is really trying to get at is that distinction, right? Like, yes, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, like, so I want to read a tweet because this really just hit me, and I think it's relevant too. So it's from Timothy Barrett, and he says, the thesis of One Battle After Another is this: fascists may have all the power and artillery at their disposal, but it's in service of absolutely nothing. Regular people, for all their shortcomings, have something they'll never be able to obtain: life and love. And I think that is where the difference between the French 75, the community that surrounds Sensei and the whole underground tunnels, and then the Christmas adventurers, I think that's where that real distinction lies. You got to dig a little bit deeper beneath like the jokes, but I think there is a menacing quality to that. And I think the manifestation of their evil is through Lockjaw. So to your point, Thomas, yes, he's the brute force that these men basically control, but it's kind of in service of nothing, and it means nothing, and they are just saying words and none of it really means anything. But you have somebody like Marty that, Lockjaw's going scorched earth because he's trying to eradicate his fetishes essentially. But he's doing it because these cold, calculated men that have basically no emotion and nothing in their lives other than the hate for immigrants and the hate for non-white people. He is afraid of them, right? So even if we're laughing at the things they're doing, the worst person you've ever met in your life is doing these things to be accepted by people who are clearly worse. So that's kind of where I stand on it.
I think the most interesting statement they made about it is like when you see Lockjaw like walking up after the car accident, I was like, oh, why is he coming back? But then I like the way they executed it in the end, with no matter how much these incels want to be a part of this white supremacist Illuminati, they're always going to see you as below. Like, you are, no matter how much you devote yourself to the cause and do whatever, like, you are not this Puritan version that already grew up with the wealth and in the certain political circles and things. So like, no matter what Lockjaw did, even probably if he didn't have this fetish and child and all of this history, he still would have never been accepted by these people, which I thought that was the most interesting part, because it's like we have these people who listen to Andrew Tate and Charlie Kirk and all these things, and they want to be them, and it's never going to happen. Like, you're just going to be this piece of shit causing all this damage for what? For nothing.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that Lockjaw doesn't get that. Like, I got that, 10 minutes into the movie, 15 minutes like into his story. Like, dude, you're never going to be accepted by these people. Like, even if you didn't have this whole kid quote unquote discrepancy in your history, like, you're not one of them, and I don't know how you're not seeing it. And
you are only as good as your usefulness to the people that need you for the time, and then once they don't, they get rid of you. And that's fascism, baby. Like, if you look at any fascist regime, a lot of these loyalists are murdered very, very shortly after the regime completely takes over. And it doesn't matter how loyal to the cause you've been. If your usefulness runs out, that's it. You're done. We don't need you anymore because you're not a part of this club. Versus, and I want to talk about Benicio del Toro, and Marty, I know you have something to say, so I'll let you do that. But versus somebody like Benicio del Toro's character and the community that he creates, one of my favorite scenes is when they're going to do the whole tunnel sequence, and he's going to get all the migrants out. But something that is so just incredible, Benicio del Toro is just that man. I swear to God, like, he makes sure to introduce every single person that contributes to this gigantic network of this underground railroad for immigrants. There is not a single person he doesn't introduce Leo to. They are escaping, and he goes through every single. That's my cousin. This is her name. This is what she does. That's my aunt. This is her name. This is what she does. This is my nephew. This is what he does. He loves toys. Like, and he forces Leo to introduce himself to every single person as they walk into this room. But it demonstrates two things. One, it demonstrates the humanity that they have for these people. They are doing something, like we said, life and love, right? Like, they are doing this for people, and those people matter, and they have names, and they're humans. But then two, it also demonstrates how many people are involved in making this happen. There is no one savior to save them all. Like, it takes a village. It takes the community to truly provide protection. And I think it's just such a, Bob's kind of asleep through most of this movie, but it is a wake-up call, right? To demonstrate like how much has changed from what the French 75 were doing, where they're going on the offensive. They're going on the attack. They're attacking institutions. They're trying to free detention centers and blow up banks and do stuff like that, versus 15, 16 years later, these people are on a defensive. They're not trying to destroy the institutions. They're basically just trying to undermine the system and find ways around it because they know they're not going to bring it down. But their fight is the more people that they can save and get out of these situations, the better that they're going to be. And I just love that. I think it has a lot in common and a lot of thematic conversation with how different the Christmas adventurers are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Marty, were you going to say something?
Oh, it was just another thing about Lockjaw, about when he gets that little Medal of Honor, people are barely clapping for him. It's just proof that, like, no matter what he does, nobody's going to care about him.
Yeah, dude, like, find some different ambitions.
He's so good in this movie. Just the fact that he's like, Leo's freaking out over here, and he's just like putting on his boots. He's like, okay, come on, let's go. And he's like, let's pop a beer, like, let's hang out. And they're like driving in the car, and he's like popping a beer, and they're just drinking together. And even too when he's like trying to like hand him the gun and like get him off the car, and even when he's like being arrested and he's doing his little dance.
So good. Oh my god!
Really, in a completely different movie than what we're watching, because he is just like so like at peace and like calm. Like, he just reminded me of, I don't know, just like a stoner dad maybe, who's just like, yeah, I know what's going on over here, but he's just like, he's vibing, he's having a good time. It's like, oh, have you been drinking? Like, I don't know, maybe small beers, just like he's having a blast. He pulls up in that little red Ford Festiva, and I was just like, oh, we're about to have a fun time here. Like, he's like literally always having like a blast, while Leonardo DiCaprio is literally having an extreme meltdown. So their dynamic is just so good. If I could have just got maybe like 30 more minutes with those two like at each other, it would have been, because he's just like, he's sensei, he's calm, he's chill, and then you've got Leo who's just like, ugh. And so like that dynamic just like it ate so good.
Yeah, I think
let's talk about that. So let's start talking about characters and performances that we really liked. I think starting with Benicio del Toro is a great way. And to your point, Marty, he is just so like, he is a lightning bolt in a movie that's already electrically charged. Like, there's already so much energy in this movie, and then he comes in with just his ocean waves, like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry about it. Like, follow the skateboarders. Like, just it's so I love everything that he does. He is so good in this movie. Benicio del Toro is one of those like just sneakily amazing character actors that does this time and time again. He does it in Wes Anderson movies, but like every time he shows up, you're just like, oh yeah, can we just follow that man wherever he goes? Just follow him. And yeah, I'd absolutely watch the buddy cop movie of those two. Just give me them on the River of Hills for 3 hours, and I will just watch them drink Modelo's and talk about revolution for 3.5 hours. I don't care. I love it. I'm all about that life.
I think what really impressed me about the performances, gosh, so much about this movie works on so many levels, and I think the score just elevates everything. It complements the franticness of Leonardo DiCaprio, but it complements the calmness of Benicio del Toro, and just is able to, like, all these performances. So Benicio del Toro, really quick, great. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He is so he's so opposingly complimentary here. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it's just, when we say someone is like in a totally different movie, sometimes that could be like a bad thing, but it's so good here. It works for what's happening with the chaos. He acts as like a calm anchor in like this storm, and it's so entertaining. So I have to find more articulate way of putting that. Maybe on my next watch, I'll have better words to put together for how great that energy is. But yeah, I think that the score for me just really helped emphasize and elevate what we're seeing with what these characters are doing and how they're responding, because I was just not expecting the score to have this kind of like kinetic energy that it has, this kind of anxiety thing going on for like the whole movie, all 3 hours.
Yeah. I was listening to some of it in the shower this morning, and I was just like, did I accidentally put my Halloween playlist on? Like, This is intense, man. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Greenwood, man, he loves that messy piano, doesn't he?
Yes,
Jesus.
the messy piano, and I love it too. Yes, just keep hitting random keys. That's fine.
Yeah.
Literally the first shot of the movie, I knew the performances were going to be great. Just the way that she's like skipping across this bridge, and like you can just feel that she's up to something. Like she just carries it so well. And Tanya, like just the fact that she's only in maybe about 30 minutes of this movie, and you spend the whole rest of it being like, when is she coming back?
Yeah.
Like she just is so captivating. Even from the scene where she's like got Sean Penn, like and she's like, get it up, and it's like, oh, okay. And
it's so so PTA.
Worse. Like she's got that machine gun and the pregnant belly, and she's just like, she, like Leo says, like she doesn't even know she's pregnant. Like she's just like literally such a dominating force. She's so powerful that this humanity is like kind of in the background for her. She is just like so ingrained into creating change. I thought it was just fantastic. I would have loved to see more of her and more of her dynamic with Regina Hall and Jungle Pussy and just the whole French 75, and see them like with a whiteboard creating plans, and just like, oh, she's it's just intoxicating how good she is.
I completely agree. She is, and I love that because you're right. You do wait for the whole time for her to come back, because she does loom over this entire movie. The whole movie is really from her actions. Everything that she does in that first 30 minutes literally dictates the entire 2.5 hours that we spend with the rest of the characters. Everybody is inevitably changed by what Perfidia does. And Tiana Taylor is just, 1001 is absolutely one of my favorite movies from that year. And her performance, I was just like, who is this woman? Why have I never seen her do anything like this before? And please, I need her on my radar for the rest of my life. Like, she is just so incredible. And to show up in 30 minutes of this giant movie and just be this, Marty, I think you said it as a force. She's just a force. And the minute you see her, you're just like, oh, she brings out you haven't even really seen her face. You just see her skip across this bridge and you're like, she's up to something, and I want to know what it is. Like, I want to know whatever that woman is about to do. I want to be a part of it. Like, I'm totally in it. She's so magnetic, so charismatic. Paul Thomas Anderson has gone on record in a recent interview and basically just said, like, he is pretty much in love with Tiana Taylor, and he like gave her all this credit for just not just being an actress, but just understanding film sets and where the camera is and how to understand direction. He was so complimentary of working with her, and he even said, like, she has one of the most beautiful faces. Like, it's an honor to just film her face. Like, he is just obsessed with her as a performer and as a person. And I think that really comes through in just the short period of time that you see her. You can tell that the camera and PTA is genuinely in love with this muse that he has, and then that just translates into every other character that we have and every other performance that we have too. So
oh, sorry, Thomas.
No, go ahead.
There's 3 times where it's like her mask cracks, and it's just like literally chills up the spine. When she's like first caught by Lockjaw, and like he's just like forcing her to have sex with him, and she's like leaving the hotel room, and you can just see how broken she is, because she's having to put herself in the, like, he's in the power position now, and she's not used to that. She's not comfortable with that. And then you have after she has the baby and she realizes, like, I'm human and I should be the one like loving this baby, and my husband should be loving me, and there's just all this humanity over here, and all I can think about is the cause. And then at the end, after she's been caught and she's like, I can't do this shit in New Mexico or wherever they're putting her up to do the witness protection, and she goes to Mexico, and you can just see the defeatedness on her. And she's so powerful in all these scenes, but I think it's like in these few scenes where you can just see that humanity, that person behind the persona that is Perfidia Beverly Hills. And she just is so good being able to capture those moments of fear and just so good.
Yeah.
I am going to call out because the standout for obviously this is a all-star ensemble, just incredible performances all around. We can rave about everyone all day and it would all be valid, but I'm gonna call out Chase Infinity.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness.
If you didn't, I was going to, so I'm glad you did.
Chase, girl, where you been? Like, I'm looking at her IMDb right now, and I think the last major thing that she did was she was in that I think it was Apple show, Presumed Innocent.
Yeah, that was like her actual breakout.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me explain something. When you, as a new actor, can hang with Leo, can hang with Benicio, can hang with Sean Penn, like when you can hang with these actors, and this is your second major role, girl, you do that. Yeah, and she does. I think. I think it could be so easy as a new performer to get overshadowed and drowned by all of the talent that is existing in this movie and that's being portrayed on screen, and she just holds up the whole time. There's never a point where I'm like, yeah, she's a little out of place, it looks like this is her second role. Never. And I absolutely admire that, especially like when we get to the end and she's kind of realizing the world that she's been told about is actually real, and she has to start locking into like, okay, remember the passwords, remember the protocol and everything. And once she starts dialing into that and recognizing the gravity of the situation, like, yeah, I think that she's really good at being that daughter that's just kind of like, I want my own life and you're infringing on my world, and gosh, dad, go away, like that kind of daughter, teenage daughter, into like, oh, you're halfway to warrior. And that shift that she does is fantastic. Totally owns it, as totally convincing the whole time. Yeah. Fill this girl's schedule. Fill her slate. Get her in more movies. I cannot wait to see what she does next.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Oh no, go for it.
Zendaya sent her like a bouquet of flowers and like a note, basically like, I guess, congratulating her on the performance. So it's like, oh, she's got the Zendaya stamp of approval. She's going places.
Yeah.
Like, not that she wasn't before, but like just that acknowledgement. It's like, yeah, she's the scene where she's all tied up in the church and Sean Penn is like trying to explain the rules, and then he's like looking back over the instructions. She's like, straight line, idiot. She's like, I was just like, damn, girl, damn. Like, you are your mother's daughter. Like,
I love that scene too, because she just immediately starts breaking him down. Like from the minute he sits down and does his test, she just straight up is like, why is your shirt so tight? Why do you walk that way? I can see your platforms. Like just like little by little, just break this persona of a man down to his high heels that he wears to make himself taller. And God, so to your point, Thomas, I'll talk about her and then I'll highlight one more character and then we'll kind of wrap up here. But it's not just that Chase Infinity is going toe to toe with somebody like Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, because that'd be amazing enough, right? Like even if you just were like half as good, you'd still walk away and be like, wow, that was pretty good. Like she's going to go places. So it's not just that; it's that she's doing it with people like Sean Penn and Leonardo DiCaprio, giving some of their best performances they've given in like 10 years. Like they are firing on a cylinder I have never seen from them or at least haven't seen in a really, really long time. And she's still able to keep up. Like she is keeping up with peak performers who are peak A-listers. And she's still like, no, I got it. I'm good. And PTA is just unadulterated trust in her talent and her skill and her ability. He's always been able to do that. He's always had this sort of ability to kind of dig deep and put people who are relatively unknown kind of front and center and really give them this highlight. And the way he does that with her, and she is just so up to the challenge. Like, sign me up. I don't care what it is. She can do Netflix movies for the rest of her life and just get paid. I'm in. I'm in. I don't care. She is absolutely incredible, and in a just world, I think that there should be some award stocks coming her way, because she, and that Sean Penn scene is really that's the big one where it's like Sean Penn has never been better. Like, he is so good, and she is just beat for beat, line for line, scene for scene, face for face. Like, no, I'm on this level already, and this is my basically first feature film. Like, that is just, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So the last call out I want to get, I know we haven't really talked about Leo. I mean, look, Leo's great. He is, he was born for this role. This is everything that again, we talk about culmination, right? Like, this is the culmination of Leo's career. This is a guy who, when he was younger, had everything going for him, wanted to be a part of the world, and then just kind of like listlessly meandered his life for 15 years. And now he's trying to get back. Now he's trying to get back to and be the person that he wants to be. It's the most mature role Leo's done in a really long time. And I just think he does great work here. But a call out I really want to get, and I think she's getting lost in the shuffle because she's not in the movie that much, but when she is, Jesus Christ, is Regina Hall. Girl, where have you been? Like, I know we sleep on her a lot because she doesn't do a lot of movies that are like super popular, but every time she does, I'm always just reminded of like, God, she really is a generational talent, and we just don't use her enough. I think about 2022 with Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul, where the movie is okay. Like, I actually don't really care for the movie overall. I think it loses its way, but she is just like, oh my God, like, you are so good. And she is just devastating in this movie. She has maybe 10 minutes of screen time, and PTA just like stays on her face most of it. Like, you never really see her in totality, right? Like, there's no focus on her body or demeanor or anything like that. It is literally just close up on her face. And it is some of the best face acting I've seen in a long time in a movie that has nothing but good performances. And she's so good. Like, I got to give a shout out to Regina Hall.
I mean, you mentioned Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul. Remember that Sundance where that came out, the same festival that Master came out. So that was when, you have this comedy and you have this horror film, thriller film. And, it's not that either of those movies were the greatest, but she has that kind of range. And so we see her here in this more this more like mature movie, this more mature role, and owning it. And for like you said, the 10 minutes that she's there, and she can do a comedy next and totally kill that too. Like, she just has such great range, and every time she's in a movie, I know she's going to be one of the best parts of that movie. Even when, we have so much talent here, but even with 10, 15 minutes of screen time, she is still a recognizable talent that you don't forget about. It's not a disposable character or performance. She is still every bit as relevant here. And I think that her performance just really solidifies that and makes her memorable.
The scene of her in the bathroom was actually like her first day on set. And that's so crazy to me because like, it's when she's at her like most, I feel, because she's like, she's trying to come in, but not be too scary, but also be like, hey, listen to me and like lock in, girl. And it was just, she is so fantastic. After the bank robbery goes awry and she's just like crouched down in the car and you can kind of see that sunset like hitting her face. And then even too, like when she's they're throwing her in the car at the end of the movie and you can just see her crying and breaking down. She holds so much while given so little. I feel like most of the women in this film really are working above their means, really, because like there's so much like, or so little given to them in the scripts, but it's like Chase's character, Tayana's character, Tanya's character, like all of these women are literally given powerhouse performances, even though they're maybe given this much screen time. Same with the nuns. Like,
oh yeah,
these nuns, but even just from the first time when they like come up to each other and they're like, your mother was a rat. She was trouble. She was hard. We got to keep our eyes on you. I was like, who is this woman? Why am I not getting a 2-hour side quest with her?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is just a fun fact for PTA fans. But she is also in another PTA movie. So that lead nun, she's in another PTA movie. So she's actually in Magnolia. And she goes toe to toe with Tom Cruise in that movie. And she is incredible there. Like, she's so good there. And yeah, those nuns, and you're right, all the women are given, because it's such a strange way to frame the film, because the movie really is about women. Like, it really is a woman's story. But PTA, I think, is very understanding of like, but I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to try to pretend that I have a woman's perspective. I'm going to let these women be the catalyst that drives everything. But we're going to experience it through the way that men react to women and the way that men translate women. And I think that that's probably a better way to do it than try to pretend that like you understand the female perspective and the female gaze. And I think PTA knows that he doesn't, but he also knows that like, yeah, these women are powerful. Like, everything these men are doing, everything is because of women. Like, all of it. It's all because of the women that they've encountered in their lives, good or bad or indifferent. Everything they're doing is for women. And I just find that just so incredibly interesting. And then the women just are, they are the powerhouses of this movie. Like, they are so good in this movie. So yeah, I think we could probably talk one battle after another for, I don't know, the next 4.5 hours if we really wanted to. But I don't think we have that kind of time. So we'll start to wrap things up here. So Thomas, we'll start with you. Just kind of give me some final thoughts. You can give a rating. You can give, however you want, but just kind of give some of your final thoughts here.
Look, when we went into fall film festival season, I said it is going to be very hard to dethrone Sinners from my best of the year. It still is. You're still going to have a very hard time dethroning Sinners. But one battle after another comes very close. It comes very close. I very much enjoyed this movie. And the more we talk about it, the more it's aging well in my mind. I love when a movie does that, when it can sit there and just like age really well and make me look forward to a second watch, maybe even look forward to a third watch before my second watch. Sinners definitely did that for me, and One Battle After Another is also doing that, and I just was not expecting that from this movie, and so it's a very nice surprise. The audaciousness of releasing this movie without needing film festivals. I mean, know your power, PTA. Good for you. You don't need a festival to project this film, and I wish you had TIFF, but no, I'm glad that it's getting the reception that it is. I'm happy that critics and audiences are both gravitating to this movie. That's a very hard feat to accomplish. And I'm looking towards award season. And for me, it's shaping up. I'm sure in a month or two we're going to start having conversations about potential Best Picture nominees. And right now, I have Sinners in the race. I have Hamnet, of course, in the race, and I now have One Battle After Another in the race. Those are like my 3 top contenders at this point. And you can fight me on that.
All right, well, Marty, we'll go to you, since I mean, we haven't really fought, but I know.
Well, echoing what Thomas was saying, like, the more we've chatted about it, the more like it's aged well in my mind, and the more I'm like, maybe I do need to go give it a second viewing. Maybe I need to force my boyfriend to go see it on Monday. Like, we'll see about it. But like, yeah, I think this is the strongest PTA movie I've seen, and I don't know, maybe I'll watch Magnolia later today. But
Magnolia is strap in, man. Magnolia is from like the opening scene. You're like, oh yeah, dude, you're on
it's the
coke.
one where
you just
Julian
know
Moore,
that man is blitzed out of his mind. I love it. But
Julian Moore yells at the pharmacist, right? Like that's
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. But I will give the rest of PTA's filmography a chance now. Like I went in very low expectations, very tentative, and I don't know, the more it sits with me, it's been almost 24 hours since I've seen the film now, and I think I'm coming around to the guy. We'll see.
I love it. For me, this is probably my favorite of the year. I was kind of with Thomas, where I don't think anything was really going to dethrone Sinners, and I saw a lot of really, really great contenders at TIFF. And there's that top 15 is looking like a bloodbath because there are some really, really good movies in there. But for me, I will definitely see it again. But as a PTA fan, this is it for me. Like this is the movie of the year. I think it is timeless yet timely. I think it's the most bold to kind of directly take on what we're experiencing now here in the US. And I think it does a really good job in kind of encapsulating that without ever directly doing it, even though it is pretty on the nose. So I just think those things are so vital. I think it is truly a movie that we need more than ever. And I think PTA is just operating on a level that I just didn't know he could do. And I've been a fan of his since he started, and it is just incredible. There's nothing about this film that doesn't work for me, from the characters to the pacing to the action to the cinematography to the score to the editing, which is just we didn't even talk about it. Like this is just, it's like technical mastery. But the one thing in kind of a final thought I'll say is, I love movies that force you to have conversations and force you to have varying perspectives on the same movie, and being able to watch a singular scene. So we've kind of talked about it with like the Christmas Adventurers, right? Like there's almost nothing that happens when you actually watch that scene, right? It's just a bunch of old, stuffy, racist white dudes having a conversation. That's it. That's all that happens in this movie. And yet we can have multiple different perspectives and conversations about what that scene implies, how it's conveyed, how people take it, what it means. Like that is just incredible to me. And that is just a testament to a really great film. Films that make you have different discussions like this are ones that have evergreen effect. We're going to be talking about this movie for the next 20 years. We just are. Like, this is a movie that is going to stand the test of time, even if you're not as high on it, right? Like, I would call it a masterpiece. And if you walk away being like, yeah, it was good, I'm not going to do that, that's honestly fine. Like, that's an incredible piece of cinema to be able to have those conversations. So, and then for awards prospects, like, I think this is the movie, man. I thought for sure after Hamnet, I was like, oh, well, yeah, obviously, like this is going to be it. But I'm starting to think that Hamnet is going to be a little bit more of like a critic's darling than it is going to be like an audience. I think general audiences, I actually fear might struggle with it a little bit. Whereas this one is just, people are embracing it. General audiences are loving it. They're digging it. And I think it's really going to skyrocket to the top. And I'm okay with that. Give it all the awards. Let it be the Oppenheimer of this year. Like, I'm down. Give PTA all the love. So yes. This was great, guys. Thank you so much. Marty, tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find my work on ForReel, obviously. And then you can find me at Twitter at Marty_Milkman.
Awesome. And then Thomas, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yep, of course, all of our content goes to thisisforreal.com. ForReel spelled FORREEL. I am still publishing TIFF stuff. I still have so much TIFF stuff to Marty has red carpets I haven't published yet, and I have some media that still needs to get online, some Q&As that I want to share, and then I have the Vancouver Film Festival coming up next weekend. So like, I'm busy. We have content, guys. Definitely subscribe, like, comment, share, all the engagement, because yeah, we have more coming for you.
Awesome. And then you can find all of my written work at nerdbot.com. Like Thomas, I'm still cranking out as many things. I have a capsule I got to do. I got to write about this movie. I have like a whole schedule of all these movies that are getting released. And I'm like, shit, I got to write about that. So tons of content coming to nerdbot.com. You can always check back here for our podcast stuff and everything that we do here at ForReel. And then you can find me on pretty much all socials at DRock Comedy. It's DROK Comedy. So this has been an episode of ForReel. Thank you so much for joining the conversation, and we'll talk with you guys later.